This is the pit stop. Hi, I'm Tom Pitt, and for the past 10 years, I've fixed more cars than Trump's got buildings. And the only thing I like more than fixing cars is teaching others how to fix cars. So today, in this episode, we're gonna have some of my students show you how to change oil. We'll have Chase Lucas and Christian Yates guiding you on how to change the oil on a 92 Ford Bronco.
Hi there, I'm Chase, and this is my partner Christian, and today we're gonna talk about the importance of oil. First off, you gotta start by checking your oil, which starts with a dipstick that's usually located either on the driver's side of the engine, usually either towards the back or front. It's gonna come out looking like a long, almost like the end of a fishing pole. So you're gonna wipe it, and then you're gonna put it back into the slot you pulled it from. And then when you pull it again, you're not going to want to touch the end. You want to see your levels. If you can see any metal shavings in there, you can see flakes usually. So listen, it's looking a little, it's full, but it's also a little dark. So we're going to end up changing it today. Some of the dangers of not changing is you can lock up your engine because that oil is not getting up into the cylinders or in between the piston and cylinders to really lube it up right. So it'll cause them to warp. When metal heats, it expands. So it'll cause your engine to warp, and it'll cause your piston heads to lock up inside the cylinder.
All right, now next we're gonna lift this Bronco up on the jack, on this hydraulic floor jack to make it easier to change the oil from the underneath the car. Now the dangers of these hydraulic floor jacks is that you want to make sure that it's sitting on a lock after you get it up, because if it's not, it could cause one of them, the hydraulics in one of them could give out and it could fall on you. You never know what could happen. But not everybody has these at home. So if you're at home changing your oil, you want to use these little tiny floor jack stands. And the way these work is you can pull them up, set them on a lock, or you can just leave them lowered. And you can go ahead and use this roll around floor jack to jack your car up and put these floor jack stands underneath of them.
So now we're going to lift up this Bronco to get up underneath it to pull the oil plug and check for the oil, look for the oil filter. So this is pretty basic. The button's gonna lift it up and down. Now once we get going, I'm gonna let it show the first lock, but then I'm gonna engage this button. That's gonna disengage the rest. You can hear the hydraulic give out on that. So let's go ahead and lift her up. All right, now that we have her up in the air, you can see how we have this middle section cut out, so it's easy to get up underneath. So we can locate the oil plug, and my partner Christian can locate the oil filter. So we're gonna get up underneath this now and find the oil plug, pull it, and let that oil drain out. So generally, you're gonna find it looks just like a bolt hanging down off the bottom. This is gonna be your oil pan. So you're gonna take the right size wrench, make sure it's the right size so you don't strip it out. This is why one socket. So you're gonna be careful while you're doing this because the oil may still be hot from running of the car. So generally you want to keep your hands back a little bit. You're going to want a rag handy just in case you do get it on your hands. So once you pull this out, generally you're going to have a heavy flow of oil. It's that easy. Luckily this time the oil wasn't too hot. It's been sitting for a while, but you can see it's still a healthy brown color, as you can see on my hand. You don't see any metal shavings, which would usually be a good showing that you're warping your pistons and cylinders. So now we just gotta let this drain. I'm gonna hand it over to my partner Christian to show where the oil filter is.
While the oil is draining, I'm gonna show you where to locate the oil filter at. And the oil filter on this vehicle is right here. All right, now that the oil is drained, it's time to put the oil plug back in. But first off, we want to make sure that we wipe off any excess oil off the oil pan. That way we make sure it's nice and clean for when we put the drain plug back in. All right, now that we got that wiped off, I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe off the drain plug a little bit. Now that we got it all wiped off, we're gonna go ahead and put the drain plug back in. Now as we're putting the drain plug back in, we wanna make sure that it's tight on there, but we don't want it too tight to where it'll mess anything up. But we want it tight enough to where we won't leak oil anymore. All right, now that we're in the final stages of tightening it, we don't want to get it to where it's too tight to where we strip the edges off this bolt. Now that we got it back on there, we're gonna go ahead and wipe it off once more, because as we was putting it on there, a little bit of oil started coming out again. All right, now we have successfully reinstalled the drain plug.
All right, so now it's time to let the Bronco down so we can look at the oil filter and change it. Every time you go to change the oil, you need to change the oil filter. It's kind of not like a one-on-one thing. But for the way these lifts work is once you set it on a lock, you can't just lower it from the lock. You gotta lift it up off the locks to drop it back down. So that's what we're about to do.
All right, now that we've got the Bronco successfully lowered, it's time to remove the oil filter. Now we're gonna use this light right here to light up the area where the oil filter's at down here. That way it makes it easier to get to. Now most oil filters come off by hand, but if some don't, they got this tool called the oil filter wrench, and you just place it on here like so, and as you twist, it'll tighten.
Usually they're placed a little awkwardly, and this is what we're looking at right now, except it's a white version. The oil flows into there, it'll catch all metal shavings, any dirt, grime, and nastiness that flows through the engine, through the oil, and it'll filter it back through. That way you don't gotta worry about changing oil so often. So there's our old oil filter. And you can see it's done its job pretty well. And one thing you want to look for is make sure this gasket right here didn't get stuck to the engine itself. All right, now we're gonna put the new one on.
All right, now that we have successfully installed the new oil filter, it's time to show you where the oil cap is to put the new oil in it. So the oil cap is normally where the oil dipstick is gonna be, which is right here. Now you wanna take that off and use a funnel to make sure that you don't spill the oil anywhere, and make sure that it all goes down in there. Now this truck right here takes 5 quarts of oil, which is the oil that we got right here. So Chase now is going to pour the oil. Now you want to make sure that you slowly pour it in there, that's way you don't overfill and splash it everywhere. All right, now we're going to start the Bronco so the oil can build up and build pressure inside the oil pan. Now with the engine off, we're gonna check the dipstick again. So we are good on oil now. Now we're gonna start the vehicle again and check for any leaks. All right, now that you can see there are no leaks, so we have successfully drained the oil, put new oil in it, and changed the oil filter in and out.
Well, looks like that's all we have time for today. Special thanks to Chase and Christian for helping us out along this journey. Until next time, this is Tom Pitt reminding you to keep it between the lines and the shiny side up. Hi, I'm Tom Pitt. For the past 10 years, I've fixed more cars than Trump's got towers. Students. Christian Yates and Chase Lucas. Hi, I'm Tom Pitt. For the past 10 years, I've fixed more cars than Trump's got buildings. And the only thing that I like...
So as he goes, put this back on.